Partying, drinking, smoking. These are common activities being done by college students to let loose and relax with their friends and acquaintances. As much as they are fun, are they also safe? Substance use, particularly with cigarettes and drugs, have been prevalent here in our country, and they have influenced countless youth in our generation. In this issue, join me today as we explore the wonderful anatomy of tobacco and cannabis.
There are many plants in the world that are used in commercial products and medicinal products, from the woods of trees and buildings to the very fruits and vegetables we eat daily. There are, however, two distinct plants that have dominated the global market, both legally and illegally. Since early times, Nicotiana tabacum and Cannabis sativa L, more commonly known as tobacco and marijuana, these two plants have dominated markets as a commercial product due to their addictive properties. But what exactly are they? How are they produced? And how do they affect people? Luckily, we have two reporters in the field right now with some specialists to explain.
Hello everyone, I'm Winsleth Chua and we're here in the field with a scientist we've asked to talk about tobacco.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Nate Ko. I'm from the Ateneo. And hello, Ms. Chua. I heard that you want to talk about tobacco, and if you would follow me right here, we have some Nicotiana tabacum specimen right here in the field right now.
Alright.
So if you actually look at the specimen here, Nicotiana tabacum is actually known as the cultivated species of tobacco. There are actually many more species of tobacco, such as tree tobacco, Nicotiana glauca. But since we are focusing on the use of commercial tobacco, cultivated tobacco would be just fine.
So I'll get straight to it. What makes tobacco addictive?
Addictive. You see tobacco roots, which are very extensive, and they're just shallow, which means it doesn't go that deep because it's a fibrous root system. It starts with the synthesis of something called nicotine. What is nicotine? Nicotine is an alkaloid that is synthesized in the roots, and then it moves up through the shoot via the xylem, and then it's stored in the leaves. Why does the roots produce nicotine? Yes, well, you see, plants are often eaten by herbivores, right?
Yeah.
And you need protection against herbivores. So when these herbivores try to eat the plant, nicotine is actually poisonous to many mammals, and not just mammals, animals actually, and even humans when ingested. So studies show that when the mechanical wounding, like when the leaves are wounded, the roots when the roots synthesize more of these nicotine, so that the plant is protected, right? Because it's wounded, it senses that, it sends signals. Here in this, wait, let me just get this. Here in this chart, you can actually see the biosynthesis of nicotine in the roots. It's chemical formula, but it's not actually that relevant in the commercial use. It's just a really cool thing, you know.
Oh, I see. Talking about the commercial uses of tobacco, how are cigars and cigarettes made?
In terms of cigars and cigarettes, the leaves actually play a huge part in making the entire thing. First of all, the leaves are dried and cured in various methods to achieve desired taste and texture. They use leaves from different plants, namely the filler, the binder, and the wrapper. The filler uses a mixture of three leaves, the ligero, which is the top part of the tobacco plant, the viso, which is the middle part, and then the seco, which is the bottom part. The bottom part is the mildest, and the top part is the strongest, of course. The bundler actually picks out these leaves and then makes a combination so that they get the desired texture and taste. The wrapper, these are the best quality leaves because these are the ones that are wrapped around the filler. And then the ones that are sold commercially. So you see those wrappings, those are the leaves that are the wrapper. Then there's something called the binder, which are lower quality wrappers, and they're the ones inside that holds the filler together inside the binder. After all that explanation, I guess the short answer to your question of what makes it addictive is it's supposed to be nicotine, actually. Yeah, nicotine is what makes it addictive.
So, moving on, I think there's some level of stigma around the word or mention of the word tobacco. Like when anyone mentions tobacco, they think of leaves, cigarettes, cigars, nicotine addiction, and so on. I think we often forget that these are plants before they are addictive substances or drugs. So can you talk to us about these plant characteristics of tobacco?
Perfect timing. Let me just get one of these. We can show it on camera. Let's just go over there.
Okay.
Go. Well, Nicotiana tabacum is actually a very interesting plant in its anatomical structure as well as its morphological structure. It's quite botanical, if I may say so myself. You see, cultivated tobacco usually grows up to 4 to 6 feet, but sometimes it's as small as 1 to 2 feet in more controlled areas. It looks like an herbaceous shrub.
Oh.
If you could take a closer look here, the roots here are quite branching and shallow. This indicates that it has a fibrous root system. It's a dicot after all. Every part of the plant contains nicotine except the seed, and the root is the main location of synthesis for nicotine. And it sends up this alkaloid nicotine via the xylem up through the shoot, and then it's stored in the leaves. Now look here at the stem of the plant. The stem of Nicotiana tabacum is both hairy and sturdy, with glandular hairs as well as upright. Its stem is woody at the base. It is also not that branched. These branches are typically produced near the base of the stem, and the leaves appear alternately on the stem with one growing per node. Nicotiana tabacum leaves are mostly sessile, and the possible leaf shapes are ovate, obcordate, or elliptic. These are usually in ranges of 15 to 100 centimeters in length, and the leaves may also be lobed or unlobed. But they are just not separated into the leaflets. They are just one large leaf, and they have a velvety texture. Obcordate, ovate, and elliptic shapes are like oval shape.
So does tobacco have flowers or even fruits?
Why yes, tobacco does have flowers and even fruits.
Huh.
Tobacco flowers are usually 5 centimeters in length and are perfect, meaning they contain all the reproductive organs that a male and female flower would have. And they also have a corolla which could vary from colors of cream or tan, pink, reddish pink, green, and white. And the shape varies from a funnel to a flute, so it's kind of tubular, right? The inflorescence is a terminal raceme with a short or long peduncle. The corolla contains around 5 stigma fused to the corolla tube, so they're like in the petals, and then a pistil with a long and slender style and a 2-lobed stigma. The fruits are capsules with many minute seeds inside them. Don't eat them though, because they are highly poisonous due to the nicotine.
I see. That is very interesting.
It is very interesting to note that the entire plant is very poisonous with the exception of the seed itself. Tobacco is usually farmed and cultivated, but you can find this in the wild, such as they're actually a wild variation of the tobacco. While they are very addictive, they're actually very bad for your health also. Tobacco actually has some medical use in herbal medicine and like ritualistic practices in the mountains. You can also use the leaves as like antiseptic. For example, you got cut. You can put it as an antiseptic to disinfect your cut. Even the stems are, because they're quite woody, they can be plied actually. And then they are used usually for paper and handicraft.
Oh, that's fascinating. Well, I think that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much for your time in answering our questions about tobacco.
Thank you for having me. I hope you guys learned something about tobacco, and remember, don't take nicotine in large amounts because it's very dangerous.
Don't smoke, but if you do, smoke responsibly.
Yeah, she's correct. Thanks.
Welcome everyone, I am Zylem DIaz, your resident reporter. And today we are having our special feature on cannabis morphology and anatomy, starting with its scientific name, Cannabis sativa L. This versatile plant belongs to the Cannabisaceae family and is widely believed to be native to Central Asia. Its range extends from Turkestan in the west to Pakistan in the east and South China in the north to the Himalayas in the south. Today, we're joined by Mr. Kirk Del Mundo, a well-known scientist and an expert botanist, to delve into the intricate details of cannabis. Mr. Kirk, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Kirk, first of all, what are the uses of cannabis plant?
That is a great question. So, the cannabis plant has diverse uses spanning from medicinal to recreational utilization. In the medical realm though, it is utilized to mitigate symptoms associated with ailments. So yun nga, we have chronic pain, we also have epilepsy, and finally, nausea. On the recreational front though, it offers sought-after euphoric and psychoactive effects conducive to relaxation and mood elevation. Methods of consumption are as is. One, you have smoking, you also have vaping, you have tea brewing, edible ingestion through edible drugs, you also have raw consumption, and finally capsule or supplement intake. Finally, we also have the legality of medical and recreational cannabis, which though is, differs across states. So individuals really contemplate purchasing or using cannabis in the first place because we really don't know kung legal nga talaga in their area. Did I answer your question right?
Yes, Mr. Kirk.
No problem.
Mr. Kirk, can you tell us about the root system of the cannabis?
To give you a better understanding, let's go to my plantation. Certainly, the cannabis plant possesses a taproot system, comprising a primary taproot from which a secondary and lateral roots extend. Under optimal soil moisture and conditions, these taproots can penetrate to depths of 3 to 4 meters. The root network spreads horizontally from approximately 15 to 20 centimeters below the soil surface. The robust roots of the plant delve deeply into the soil for stability and nutrient absorption. In less favorable soil conditions, the primary root may not extend as deeply, with more lateral roots becoming more prominent.
Fascinating. Moving on to the stems, what can you tell us about their structure?
That is a great question. So stems are actually green, hollow, cylindrical, and longitudinal, ridged with variable branching patterns ranging from opposite to alternate. The stem of the cannabis plant is slender and elongated. The plants where new stem branches emerge from older ones are termed nodes. These nodes serve multiple purposes, including indicating the sex of the plant, signaling when pruning is appropriate, and identifying the plant's temperature requirements.
And what about the leaves? How do they contribute to cannabis biomes?
Leaf morphology influences photosynthesis, gas exchange, transpiration, nutrient uptake, and stress responses, serving as indicators of plant health and productivity. Cannabis leaf morphogenesis follows a distinct pattern from cotyledon to true leaf, with changes in leaflet number, length, width, and other characteristics. Initially, single serrated leaflets emerge, with complexity increasing as development progresses, characterized by an increase in the number of leaflets. Leaf arrangement varies from decussate at lower branches to alternate at terminal ones. Petioles can grow up to 7 centimeters long, cylindrical with a median groove along the upper side, and covered with both non-glandular and glandular trichomes. Leaves are also palmately 3-9 lobe, exhibiting actinodromous venation, with the youngest leaves sometimes unlobed. Serrations along the margin are prominent, curved, and pointed towards the tips of the leaf blade. Each lobe has a primary midrib and several secondary veins on either side, with veins raised forming ridges on the abaxial side and impressed forming grooves on the adaxial side. The lowest pair of lobes is typically much smaller than the others and pointing backward.
Mr. Kirk, moving on to the flowers, could you describe the differences between the male and female flowers in cannabis?
Oh, certainly. Male and female flowers occur on separate plants. Male flowers are usually taller, while female plants are typically more robust. Male flowers are pale, green, and borne on axillary laxly branched cymose panicles. Flowers in panicles occur solitary, in clusters, or in 3-flowered cymules. Each flower consists of 5 tepals, 5 stamens, and a slender pedicel. The tepals are ovate oblong, 2 to 4 centimeters long, yellowish or whitish green, spreading, and minutely hairy. The stamens are drooping and consist of slender filaments and oblong greenish anthers. Pollen grains are liberated through terminal pores in the anthers. Female flowers are dark green and subsessile, borne in pairs and closely aggregated at the apex of short spike inflorescences. Each flower consists of an ovary with a style ending in a pair of long, slender, feathery stigmas at the apex, surrounded by membranous perianth and bracts. In illicitly grown cannabis cultivars, the style stigmas portion of the pistil generally measure over 8 millimeters long, with styles often being 3-branched.
Lastly, let's talk about trichomes. What role do they play in cannabis plant?
Trichomes, especially glandular ones, play a crucial role in resin production, which contain cannabinoids and terpenes. Glandular trichomes are found on almost all aerial parts of cannabis plants and consist of glandular stalk, glandular sessile, and bulbous glandular trichomes. Glandular stalk trichomes are restricted to floral bracts in pistillate plants and anthers in staminate plants. Glandular sessile and bulbous glandular trichomes are found in various parts including bracts, leaves, stems, and petioles. Non-glandular trichomes such as the shorter and larger cystolith containing conical trichomes and longer and slender trichomes also contribute to the plant's defense mechanisms and environmental adaptations.
Mr. Kirk, thank you very much for your comprehensive overview of the cannabis morphology and anatomy.
My pleasure. It was great to share my knowledge with you.
Hello everyone! Now that we have learned about the tobacco and cannabis, let us now look into their effects on mental health. So, with me is a specialist from the psychology department, Ayla Dimzon. So, Lai, let's start with cannabis, no? Can you tell us more about marijuana as a drug?
Yeah, as you know, marijuana is derived from the cannabis sativa plant. It is commonly smoked but can also be chewed, brewed, and teased and used in edibles.
That's very interesting. So, what are the psychological effects of marijuana?
So the use of marijuana, like many drugs, poses a lot of risks. So in the DSM-5, or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, cannabis use disorders covers marijuana-related issues. So the effects of marijuana actually depend on dose and potency, like kung gaano siya ka-strong. So users may feel relaxed and sociable, but large doses can lead to emotional shifts, dulled attention, and fragmented thoughts. So, impaired memory din and distorted time perception. So, heavy use may induce hallucinations and panic. That's how dangerous it is. So, in general, marijuana's effects are hard to measure or gauge because, the symptoms or the effects usually take time to appear. So, this often leads to unintended high doses. So, scientific evidence suggests that it can impair cognitive functions even after use, particularly with chronic use from adolescents. So, longitudinal studies show persistent heavy use correlates with IQ reduction and cognitive impairments.
Really, that's very interesting. So, how about its physical consequences?
So, yung short-term effects ng marijuana may include pamumula ng mata and yung itchy eyes, dry mouth and throat, and increased appetite. So, meron din siyang dalang slight rise in blood pressure.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Lai, and that's very interesting to hear, and definitely we will really take note of that, especially our viewers. So, let's talk about tobacco on the other hand. What can you tell me about it?
Today, electronic cigarettes or vapes are used where users inhale and exhale the vapor of liquid nicotine harvested from the tobacco. So these products have the same effects as those of traditional cigarettes.
So, what are the psychological effects of nicotine?
So nicotine is known to mimic the effects of acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that is associated with memory formation. So as such, it can temporarily improve your concentration and retention of information. Pero meron din siyang calming effects because it stimulates the release of glutamate and inhibitory neurotransmitter. Smokers can feel some relaxation when taking tobacco. So that said, similar to cannabis, withdrawal symptoms can also occur, which can lead to anxiety and depression when individuals become too tolerant to the drug. So this leads them to consume more cigarettes to replace the same relaxing feeling they get from the drug.
So, basically, both cannabis and tobacco are really, really harmful.
Yeah, and addictive.
So, what would happen to the body when nicotine is ingested?
So long-term cigarette use has been linked to the development of cardiovascular diseases like emphysema and lung cancer. So complications in pregnancy such as sudden infant death syndrome can also happen for pregnant mothers who consume nicotine. So as a stimulant, nicotine can also increase the risk of blood clotting, high blood pressure, insomnia, joint stiffness, and many others. So the tar or the black gummy substance from the cigarette can also cause skin and mouth irritation and bad breath to the user.
Is there anything else we need to take note of when smoking?
Another cause of concern is secondhand smoking. The smoke coming from the burning end of cigarettes can also endanger the people around the user. And it has also shown that environmental smoke contains more ammonia and tar than does the smoke inhaled by the user. So this can cause similar, even greater danger to other people, especially to pregnant mothers, because premature pregnancy can occur. So for children, they are very much at risk of asthma, bronchitis, and other respiratory problems.
It's so interesting no, that these plants can have all of these effects on our mental health and such. But I'm afraid that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much, Lai, and thank you so much for sharing this with all of us. And thank you, folks, for listening in. No? So tune in next time where we discuss the interesting anatomy of the Giganotosaurus, the largest carnivore in the world. Again, guys, thank you so much.